is James Hill, and I'm a professional ukulele player.
I came to it like a child, with an open mind, with an interest in all sorts of things. And so my relationship with the ukulele was much more of a slow, blossoming kind of friendship, at first, and very innocent.
So hand over my heart, and I will give you my word. No one else here today has to.
I started in grade 4 in the school classroom. I didn't really choose the ukulele. It just literally landed in my lap one day, and it was like, this is what you're doing now.
Before it's too late to start.
Like math class or English class or gym, then you had ukulele. It was part of the curriculum. It was great.
Before it's too late to start over again.
I didn't have those adult things that I was bringing to it. It was just joyful, and it was a way to make friends. It was a way to explore music. It was a way to fill a couple hours after school, and only gradually did it dawn on me that this was something really special. And it wasn't until I was probably in my sort of early teens that I really started to realize that there was something here that I wanted to really pursue more seriously.
It's no surprise that James learned to play the ukulele. In fact, it's by design. The music program from Nova Scotia reached Langley, BC, and was still a force more than a decade later.
When I first started, my teacher was Jamie Thomas, who grew up in Nova Scotia and went through the Halifax program. His teacher was Chalmers, Doane. He would write songs about Nova Scotia, and we'd hear stories about Nova Scotia, and we would see pictures of old ukulele groups and look at the CBC films that were made, back in the heyday of the program. So for us, we were hearing about it, and there was always this kind of mythology, in a sense, around Nova Scotia, and we loved it. And Nova Scotia really seemed like a magical, ukulele netherworld. There was a time in my life where I was totally fascinated by the ukulele in and of itself. I mean, it was the whole world to me, and I just wanted to know where the edges were. I wanted to sail to the edge of the map. What rhythms you could play, what strums you could do, what pieces you could tackle, how fast you could go, how slow you could go. All these things helped to sort of draw the map for me. Then once I had sort of sailed around the world of ukulele a couple of times, then I got to sort of choose where I wanted to end up.
Please welcome back James Hill and Anne Janelle.
Anne Janelle is a cellist and songwriter. Her and James met at the University of BC, where they were both studying music. They started playing together, fell in love, and tied the knot in 2013. They've been making music ever since. Along the way, they decided to call the East Coast home.
We had to make a decision where we wanted to go. She basically went for it. We both knew that we would miss our families, because they're still out west, but we also knew that there was a lot for us here, and a lot of friendship, a lot of adventure, a lot of music, and, a beautiful place to live.
3, 4.
And at that point, I've been collaborating with Chalmers quite a bit on some books and some teaching projects, and of course, jamming and making music. And so I'd been flying here quite a bit to do that. And so when it came time to decide, do we go back where we came from, or do we keep trucking? We decided to keep trucking. That was 10 years ago.
The ukulele lit a fire in James's heart and led him to find love in music and love in life. He had a desire to feed the fire and fuel a new generation of ukulele players.
In the mid-'80s, the program died off a bit after Chalmers retired from his position in Halifax. But what I was interested in, among other things, was reconnecting with the people who had been really instrumental in that program. I'd arrive at the airport, Chalmers would swing by, pick me up, and take me straight out to, South Maitland. And that was really what I knew of Nova Scotia, is the rural aspect, and what I think of as the best of Nova Scotia, like the great warmth and hospitality, and of course Chalmers and Jean, who I love so much. And so to me that was Nova Scotia, and to a certain extent that's what it still is. To me that's the heart of what I love about this province. So it wasn't hard to fall in love. I was 16, I was living in Langley. Chalmers was out there for a master class, and I was playing a solo with the Langley Ensemble. I stepped out in front and I did a little solo. And I remember in his comments afterward, he said something to the effect of, well, I guess one of these days I'll be buying tickets to see your show. And it was a very kind of offhanded remark, and but it really made an impression on me. I thought, wow, I guess maybe he's right. Maybe this is something that I can do.
And the next time that I can really remember where we got into it was you phoned me.
That's right. Yeah.
And you said something to the effect, did you really start all this stuff? It wasn't long before you said, well, I want to meet you, and I said, well, I want to meet you too. So then you said, well, I'm coming to Nova Scotia. As soon as we met, I felt I had an extremely strong ally. So that's another thing that attracts us to one another.
It didn't really slow us down that we were, that far apart in age, because we had music, and we had the same songs. We had a common language right off the bat. Never mind, we had the instrument in common that we both loved so much.
We both like sports. We like to play, and we like to win, and we like to beat each other if we possibly can.
Get out and play tennis, or we were gonna play crokinole, or he's got this shuffleboard game that he loves to play, and when that ran out, well, we'd pick up the ukes and start playing. I think when you get a wide generation gap like that, you lose that common ground. But when you have music and you have the ukulele, you've always got that common ground. I just realized something that I'd never tried before. Because I have the high fourth string,
Yeah.
when I go, I can do my part in harmonics. Right?
You can leave it in, it'll sound great.
Doesn't have to be every time, but
And if we were the same age and trying to do the same things all the time, we would probably have a hate-love relationship.
I can't believe I didn't notice that before.
That's good. That's really good. It does sound great. When your students can do better than you can, then you're doing something right. And this is just a dream come true. And this happens every time we get together. He came up with something new today. That was cool, and we put it in the song already. It's in the bag.
Do you have an intro that you do for it?
I think just something like this. different.
I never knew music like that was possible.
That's right, yeah, that's the line. Well, it's been a great thing of growth for me because of the way you play and the things that you do.
He's a lot older than I am, but he still beats me at tennis. You know, he doesn't act his age by any means. And so it wasn't hard to, you know, find common ground and connect with him.
Their friendship has helped to bring the ukulele across Canada and around the globe. Together, they fine-tuned what's known as the Doane method. It's a way to teach kids music using primarily the ukulele.
I would come to him with reams of paper with lots of words on them. His recommendation was scrap all the words. And what we would have is we would have one page of music with all the notes on it and the chords and the words. And the instruction would be play.
The method is back in many schools, and James has reached individuals worldwide with online learning and his masterclasses.
It has this deeply practical, get her done kind of philosophy built right into it.
Here at home, the impact is clear. In just about every nook and cranny, you'll find people playing the ukulele.
It's sort of like the woods after a forest fire. The seeds are still out there, and the trees will grow if you give them a chance.